Do we have too much government?
We need to put people ahead of corporate profits.
This system is so lopsided. This threat is a real threat to democracy.
And I think that's really important. That's something we haven't been doing in this country for a long time.
Where do you start? What do you do? How do you do it?
Access to Democracy and other Eagan community television programming is supported by Thomson Reuters, makers of Westlaw Next and based in Eagan. Through Westlaw Next and other innovative online services, Thomson Reuters is the world's leading source of intelligent information for businesses and professionals. Online at thomsonreuters.com. And by U.S. Federal Credit Union, the member-owned financial institution offering service, value, and experience you can trust to the greater Twin Cities community.
Welcome. Well, welcome again. Access to Democracy returns. And you had the benefit of two pictures there. We're working with a shorthanded crew today. I'm Alan Miller, your usual host, and we have a first-time guest. And I also want to give a special shout out to DJ Stevenson, who came in to bail us out here in terms of the crisis that you face when your crew unexpectedly doesn't show up. So we are here thanks to Dave Elbon, Mary Dalkey, and DJ. And with us is Kyle Nelson. Kyle Nelson is a personal trainer who believes in fitness. He believes that anybody at any stage of life can help themselves and build their body, etc. And he even took that challenge with me. Now he's lasted for 3 weeks in that regard, and he hasn't retired yet, but I will say that he's tenacious, dedicated, and he's breaking all my bones. But fitness is really important, especially as we're getting older, to keep ourselves in shape. So Kyle, how did you get into this?
Basically, it was more with my family. Growing up with them, my dad would always work out in the basement. He had like a Bowflex and some dumbbells and a rowing machine, and wake up to music going. And we didn't have a lot of game systems around, so found most of my things to do outside, and we'd go on family bike trips. So it goes a lot out to my family with just living it.
And obviously versatile. Obviously it appealed to you.
Absolutely.
So, sports in high school?
Yep, so yeah, that grew into getting involved with pretty much every sport, and then eventually I found some that I really enjoyed, like cross country, wrestling, and track. I wanted to learn how to train my body when in the competition, because if you want to win, you gotta be able to train yourself. So I wanted to learn all about what can I do to better myself. So then fitness and the high school weight room, and that took interest of me, so I could take myself to the next level.
Which you obviously did. You went to the University of North Dakota.
Yes.
Majoring in?
Exercise science and wellness, yes.
And with a degree from there, you came to the big city.
I did. I got to come to the big city down here.
And you've been with the Y, what, 4 years, 5 years now?
Well, not with the Y. I've been in the fitness industry 4 to 5 years.
Oh, okay.
But with the Y, about 2 years.
But you were with another outfit, a commercial outfit before that.
Absolutely.
I have to say that the YMCA in Eagan, which is right on Opperman Drive, right across from where we are filming right now or while doing this show, is incredibly well equipped with all sorts of exercise equipment.
Yes, absolutely is. We have a room kind of dedicated to our cardio equipment, and then we got a lot of weight machines that you can sit down on working specific muscle groups, and then we also have a big free weight area where there's a lot of different dumbbells and benches And then outside of that, we have a couple gyms, and we have the track that goes up around the stairs.
You
and
do
then
have an indoor track, right?
Yep.
And 2 large swimming pools.
Yep. Yeah, we do. And then there's a couple studios which they do some of the more fitness classes in as well.
Yeah. Well, when working with me, you're working with a dumbbell, but maybe there's hope. So let's talk about specializing. By the way, what's the National Academy of
Sports medicine?
Medicine?
There's many different personal training certifications you can go through. The National Academy of Sports Medicine is a well-known one, which I took interest in, and that really teaches you how to develop your clients, how to write programs, how to treat different disabilities or different handicaps, and go from there.
You have to be certified by them, however. You have to.
Yep, you got to
meet
be
a certain standard.
Yeah, you can be a personal trainer just by getting the certification. If you have the background of exercise science as a degree, then you have a bigger base for yourself to.
And I was amazed to learn how many different specialties there are. And I know you have several, but in the business there are many, many different specialties. As you said, working with the handicapped, etc.
Yep, absolutely.
So what are your specialties?
My specialties, mostly what I want to do is enhance someone's life wherever they're at. So if they're starting and they've never done exercise before, then it's an opportunity to train them to just be more functional, be able to feel better, look better, kind of thing. But then my specialties would go around more weight loss or putting on muscle mass, looking at balance, core strength, doing some specialty like event training like triathlons or the different obstacle course runs that are out there. Those would be some of my specialties.
Now, you happen to, as an avocation, be involved in obstacle courses, is that right?
Yes, I definitely enjoy doing it myself, and it's fun. There's fun things to train for. Like I've done a triathlon a couple of years ago. That was probably the hardest event I've ever done, doing the swimming, biking, and the running there. So those are all packed into one thing. And then I took a lot of interest in the obstacle courses like the Tough Mudder and Warrior Dash-like things as well.
There are a couple of shows on television where there are all sorts of obstacles. I mean, it's something I think that started in Asia, but has now become popular here.
Yeah, there's the American Ninja Warrior, which I definitely take interest in that. I actually applied to be on the show. Unfortunately, I didn't hear back from them, but I definitely enjoy that training. That would be something that is definitely a goal of mine to possibly get on there at some point.
Now, we're going to do some demos of some things that people can do at home to help build themselves up and/or enhance their health and/or just keep fit. But before we do, let's talk about the why, because you are a personal trainer.
Yep.
So the Y has, I was amazed to find, a ton of programs. They have some classes, which silver sneakers people over, I guess, 65 can be in those classes, and all different types of training. So talk about some of the things that are available to people, working with a personal trainer, working in groups, etc.
Yeah, we kind of break it down, start off with just the classes. Now, the classes come with your membership if you get a membership at the Y, and those are all free. You just got to figure out which one you want to actually do, and then you can show up there. Those ones are taught by group fitness instructors, and they have to get certified in different group classes to actually teach those ones. And then if you break it down a little further, we have small group training in which personal trainers would teach more of a smaller group of people, like 4 to 8, on a specific exercise like kettlebells, or it's body weight training, or amongst other things. Then you break it down into buddy training and personal training.
And buddy training is what, working with one other person?
Yep, buddy training, you could train like a husband and a wife, or a couple sisters, or friends, or any double there.
Now, one of the things I noticed since I started going to the Y, and this is a really late in life beginning for me, it's open 5:30 in the morning, most mornings.
Yep, opens right up there at 5, yeah.
At 5, and until what time at night?
10 o'clock at night during the week, and then 9 o'clock on the weekends. And I think we open up at 6 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday.
And you can also do swimming lessons and exercises in the pool.
Yep, absolutely. There's a couple pools in there. One's going to be warmer than the other one. One's just a 25-meter lap pool with 5 lanes that people can do lap swimming in, or there's aqua classes there as well. The smaller pool has different classes, and we even have a water personal trainer that's on site to actually do exercises in the water.
And I've seen a lot of young children taking lessons. Several things impress me. Number one, there's always a lifeguard. And number two, each one of those kids is wearing a life vest.
Absolutely. Safety is one of the biggest things whenever you enter that pool area. So there's multiple lifeguards, many different staff, and they got the programming for little kids to bigger kids to even adults doing any sort of lessons or training.
And you can join just the Y, and then use all the facilities. Of course, there's locker rooms.
Yep.
Where you can lock your clothes up, and there are showers, and I guess just about everything that any gym would have.
Absolutely. We definitely have all those things.
And talk about the classes in terms of signing up for classes. You
Okay.
can do it individually or groups or length of time or what?
Yeah, so with the group fitness classes that come with your membership, we pass out these schedules so that you can look at the times and look at what kind of class is it. Is it a body weight class? Is it a cardio kick class? Is it a cycling class? You figure out which one takes interest to you, and you can actually just show up at the time. That if it's in Studio A or Studio B, you can basically just show on up and go right to that class. Maybe show up a little bit early, talk to the instructor if it's your first time, or you can really just show up at any time there.
When you say Studio A and these are big studios. I mean,
Yep,
you can have
Studio A
25 people in an exercise class.
Yeah, Studio A, you can actually fit more 50 in that one. And then the Studio B is a little bit smaller. That's where most of the cycling bikes are for that one. And then for the small group training, if you wanted to sign up for those ones would be with a personal trainer. So there'll be some extra fees attached onto those ones. But then you'd get more of that specific accountability training that you would get not from just the group fitness classes there.
You can sign up for an individual training session or group training sessions.
Yep, you can
When I
sign
say
up.
group, I mean, a series of lessons.
Oh, a series of lessons. Yes, you can absolutely sign up for a series of lessons. Everything's customizable into how many sessions you want, or how long do you want to work, or the frequency of how often you want to train. You could train 3 times a week, you could train once a week, you could train once every other week, or even once a month.
Now, what's optimum? If you want to take a body that's really been in disrepair and get it into shape, what would be optimum?
Optimum, I would suggest 3 times a week to start, so then you have that guidance of the personal trainer with you all 3 days. And the whole goal of that is to try to build a habit into you so that you can be able to adapt your body with these exercises so you can eventually do it on your own. So eventually we might knock it down to 2 times a week, might knock it down to 1 time a week, and that means you're getting better at it as long as you're doing your homework.
And I found the first couple of times I came to work out when you were not working with me that the machines were amazed to me. But by going through it with you multiple times, for instance, I was in Sunday and I ran through the whole routine without you being there at my shoulder, and it worked very well.
Yeah, you're starting to adapt to it. You're starting to get it down. You're starting to remember, or you're becoming a little more comfortable with things. And that's exactly where I want to bring people, is at that point.
Okay, now you're going to show us some different exercises that people can do at home.
Yep, absolutely.
And so let's have some demos now.
All right,
of
sounds good.
certain exercises that any of us can do in our home ground.
Absolutely. So let me explain. I'm going to do basically 7 different things, and the basics of what you want to do if you're thinking about exercising at home is there's 7 basic things you want to remember as far as different body movements. One thing you want to do is definitely a pushing-like exercise, like a push-up, and I'll demonstrate a couple different of those. A pulling exercise, a squat of some sort of lunge, a twist, a bend, and then balance incorporated there. So those are, if you do all of that, you'll definitely incorporate your whole body, and that's what you want to do. Now you might have different injuries at home, or you might not know what some of these are, but let's take a look at some of these and do a couple different demonstrations.
You're on.
So-
Let's do it.
So if we're looking at a pushing-like movement, everyone knows kind of what a push-up is, but you might not be able to do a push-up right on the ground, so you might have to find some sort of angle. Now when I first worked with you, we brought you over to one of the bars, and we were doing some push-ups, kind of maybe at this level here, but our body was nice and straight, and we were coming down and we were getting that push-up. So you might have to use your resources if you're at home and doing a push-up, but if you don't have anything around you, you could go all the way down to the floor and even be on your knees to do one of those. So that would look like coming down on the floor and you're on your knees, but you're still getting that full range. You're taking some of that body weight pressure off of you to go and do that.
Now, there was something that you've had me doing called mountain climbing,
Yep.
which in effect we use the side of a table for.
Yep, we absolutely did that. So yeah, there's a couple different exercises you can kind of compound. So we want to work our core a lot. So putting yourself into that push-up like position, if you're on a table and you're lifting your knees up, that can start working on more of your lower abdominals and challenging your core. So, yep, we absolutely done that with you and amongst other people.
And there was one called planking. What was that?
Yep, planking is one that you hold it for an extended period of time. So when you're in a push-up position all the way on the ground or on a table, it's basically just holding it here. And when you hold it here, you have to use your core and able to do that. And the lower you go to the ground, the harder it's going to be, and you can even incorporate it down to a plank all the way on your elbows, and then you can even advance it another step further, doing it on an exercise ball. Now we haven't got there yet, but there's many different options you can go.
Okay. What else?
So next one would be a pull. Now a pull is going to be a little bit more difficult to do at home, but sometimes basically just doing the movement, even if it's just body weight, you're just trying to pull so you can activate a lot of those lat muscles, your back, your traps up here, and doing some sort of pull. If you have something, you might have weights at home, or maybe it's a can of soup, and you could just lean against one chair and you're actually going to put some resistance there, or maybe it's a bag or something, but you can definitely get some pulls here. A lot of exercise is form, so sometimes you might not know the exact form of everything, but mostly you want to keep your posture straight as you can when you do it. So this one, you'd keep your back completely straight here, and you'd be rowing here, and then you'd want to get the other side as well when you do that type of motion. So getting a pull in, or machines work pretty well for this one, but those are going to be in a gym-like setting. So another one is going to be the twist. Twisting is going to activate a lot of your core muscles and your obliques here, and you could really just put your hands together and twist to the side. And maybe you do this already. I mean, we rotate our bodies, but this would be more of a purposeful exercise to get some sort of twist in there. Going off of that, let's do some lower body exercises.
Okay. How long do you do these? How many repetitions do you do them? Does it depend on the particular exercise or what?
Yeah, sometimes it depends definitely on the exercise, but you're either going to be doing reps or you're going to be holding it for a period of time with some of them, like the plank. For like the push-ups and the different pulls, you'd want to look for 10 to 15 reps is what you'd want to go for if you're just starting out trying to get your muscles used to doing this like movement there. So looking at some squatting motions here. Squatting is just basically bending over and picking something up, but there's a lot of form with a squat, keeping your back straight again, and then there's a holding part to a squat as well, or doing a wall sit. So there's lots of different variations of the squat, but if you're doing a squat, you want to be all the way back on your heels, and we've done some of these, and we're basically bending at the knees, the hips, and the ankles, and we're coming down. We're going to activate our large quadricep muscles as well as our hamstrings and our glutes. So this is a very good weight-bearing exercise that's good for your muscle and for your bone density as well. So
That would be like a 15 repetition.
yep, that would definitely be a 10 to 15 repetition one you'd want to do. And then if you wanted to hold something, I always recommend starting around 30 seconds. If you can try to hold it as long as you can. If you're in this squatting position, try to hold it here. That's going to definitely activate a lot of those quads, hamstrings, and glutes, like I said, but maintaining that good posture, not slouching over, hanging down. But yes, that one would be a holding or a repetition one.
I know the push-up one on the floor, which we try to maintain as long as we can.
Yep.
After about 30 seconds, my arms start quivering.
Yep. So that one's not just going to work your core muscles. Since we're using our arms to hold ourselves up, our arm muscles are going to start to fatigue, and that's what you're going to feel there as well.
And eventually you try to increase the time.
Yep, you want to definitely try to increase the time. For the repetition ones, you want to potentially increase the resistance. If that's changing your angle up, or if you have access to weights, you're adding more weight, and you can do it that same amount of times with more weight.
Now, Sunday when I was in, excuse me, using the machines, I did it at the same weight, and you showed me how you adjust the weights that we had done when I was taking the lesson. And then I tried to up it a little bit by 2.5 to 5 pounds, depending on how much you can on the machine. And I guess that's what we're talking about, the challenge of increasing it a little bit.
Yep, so what that means is your body's starting to adapt, and as long as you keep breaking down those muscles and you're feeding your body the right things, nutrition's a whole nother story that is incorporated into the health and fitness realm, but you absolutely want to keep that up.
You actually have a nutritionist available there also, do you know?
We don't have an official dietitian there. We have some trainers that have nutrition backgrounds or have a couple different certifications in nutrition. Some fitness clubs have nutritionists available on site, but the Y doesn't have an official one.
But, we've talked about diet a little bit,
Yep.
I'm losing my voice here.
That's
Just
okay.
watching you do exercises, I'm losing my voice. What other ones do you have that you can show us?
The other ones, like the squat, we have a lunge, and basically the lunge means you're going to put one foot in front of the other. So instead of using both legs at the same time, you're going to put one out in front of you, which is going to challenge, put more pressure on one single leg, and it's going to challenge your balance a little more. So if I want to do a lunge, I would come forward and come back, and you'd want to alternate these ones. So this is a great one to do if you have any floor space at all. You can basically just go back and forth. Again, you're trying to keep good posture, keeping your core nice and tight, and that's going to activate similar muscles to your quads, hamstrings, and your glutes, like the squat, but variation.
Yeah, you had asked me if we want to do lunge next, and I thought you meant go out and have some food, but didn't work out that way.
Yeah, there's different meanings behind some of the words here.
Yeah.
But
What other ones do we have?
another one is going to be a bend, and that can be treated like a sit-up or a standing one. So I'll demonstrate both. A standing bend is just you could put both hands up and bend right at the waist here. Come on up. You'll stretch a couple different muscles out, you'll activate a couple ones in your core, just kind of coming up there. Or we can do some different variations of the sit-up. If we're on the ground, everyone knows kind of what a sit-up is, but if you do a sit-up, that's basically coming all the way down on the ground and then coming up using your core. There's different variations of that too. Crunches only coming up about halfway, or lots of different things.
When we
there.
used to do those in physical ed
Yep.
classes, I guess it was the old system. You had to keep your legs flat on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And now I notice that everybody keeps their knees bent.
Yeah, there's a lot. You'll see a lot of things if you go to any gyms there, and sometimes you don't know what's the best thing. In the end, basic exercise is movement. Just get out and move. That's why some of these basic movements like twisting and bending and lunging and squatting are good just base blocks to work with. And then there's hundreds of different exercises you can apply to each one.
And what do we have left? We have 2 minutes left, so what
The last thing would be balance. Any sort of balance things, like even just standing on one foot, which we've been trying to work, and that's one of the goals that you wanted to work on when we started working together, is just getting your balance better.
So far I've got an F.
So far, yeah, we gotta stay very consistent with that so that our body can adapt to that.
Straight leg or bent knee?
Yeah, well, you want a slight bend. So if you're standing on one foot, you can just stand there, maybe during, different commercial breaks at home, or if you're cooking in the kitchen, or you just try to incorporate into your lifestyle. That's what you want to do. Yeah.
And what's the best clothing to wear when you're doing your exercises?
Something you can move around in. Something that's flexible, something that you're comfortable wearing. Some people change their wardrobe when they're in front of people, if they weren't. So it's more of a comfort to you.
Anything else you want to add that we haven't touched so far?
I'd say, everyone wants to be physically fit or wants to do that. Find something that you like to do and come up with a goal. Don't overcomplicate it with a bunch of goals. Just pick one and go for it. But if you don't know how to go for it, then you might seek some assistance from a gym or a trainer or a friend. But that would be my advice.
And we've been talking to Kyle Nelson from the Eagan YMCA, who was good enough to come in here and show us some things that we can do. But my advice to anybody watching us is join the Y, or if you qualify for silver sneakers over 65, you automatically get to use their equipment. Kyle Nelson, I want to thank you very much for coming in here, and really, you set a bar for us to meet, and I appreciate it, and so do our viewers. So
absolutely.
Thanks again.
Thank you very much.
That's it.